Hi everybody, welcome to the Scannell Agenda. It's Friday, April 4th. This is show number 16. Now the pavilion that I just talked about here, there's many options for that. This would be hanging pavilion that would be up over the canal. And as you can see, little cables there. Now, I'm drawing up several options for this. This is just one option. And these would all have, it would be done in a Disney World fashion, and there'd probably be about 8 components to this huge pavilion. North, northeast, east, southeast, south, southwest, west, northwest sections. That's 8 sections. That's boxing the compass. There'd be escalators and elevators, and probably 3 to 5 levels, and stops to unload people and load people up into the monorail systems that go inside this pavilion. And I don't know what you call them, but the traveling walkways that you see at Logan Airport where you jump on, it's like an escalator, only it's on the level. I don't know what you call those. But this unit would have all that stuff. And every consideration for disabilities, and you name it. It would just be a showpiece for the world's new energy system. Now, if you look at it from the top, you look at this pavilion from the top, you can see that the canal comes through here. See the canal, and you've got boats there. I've got the Barkentine, barks a lot, the schooner, soon to be, and the trimaran, Try-Me. Okay, boats will be built because we have this spectacle of a canal here with these high clearances. Boats will be built to our clearance. Now these are the bridge decks here. This is the roadway coming well underneath this this pavilion. This is a windmill. This is a windmill. This is the pavilion, which I showed you a cross section of. This is the canal with the boats. So that's the rough idea on that. So this, I hope I'm drawing up aesthetically pleasing designs here, but it's not like me to do that. So, I mean, this is a, this would be a, if this project gets going, then the designers, the real designers of the world will have at all these rough ideas. That would be a dream come true. Oh, wouldn't that be something to see this happen? So I called that one Bourne Brass Ring Energy Pavilion. So it's got 3 levels, and the 3 levels to this pavilion and themes would be energy, new and old. And then the second level, ships and boats. And third level up top, kids and fun and rest, you know, lounge areas. And like I said, done in a Disney World type of a fashion where you'd really want to go, real destination, in other words. And these monorails would carry you to and from a couple miles away, because you wouldn't want all the congestion right there at that point. So you'd ride in on a monorail from 2 miles away, let's say, parking and all that. So this is the brainstorming phase that I love. Now here's one of the earlier structural drawings of just what I'm talking about. It's got the, these are all views here. You're looking down, you see a little person there. This is pretty big. So that base is 100 feet wide right there. That's about 100 feet wide. And then you've got these ribs and these floors and deck levels here and monorails and, you know, that sort of thing. Now these are cables up above and cables and stands down below. We have to require people with a little bit more credibility than myself. No offense to me. This is pretty good stuff, but for what it is, you know, like I was saying on the other show, the imaginations of a boat shop janitor. Okay, good place to start from. And there's a helicopter pad up there. Here would be a different version of the same pavilion theme that would have a bridge going across from 2 windmills, and then a gradual grade coming up. All pavilion areas here, going up in here. And then your roads would be out here. So there's any number of ways to do it. And here's a vessel here. What's that? That's a dreadnought. And that's an eastern rig, Evelina. Okay. That's a famous New Bedford boat. I think it's Evelina Goulard or something like that. One of my favorite boats ever. It's an old schooner. So to give you an idea what a brainstormer does, this is brainstorming on potential structures for that pavilion. Okay. And as I said, probably one of my favorites would be something I showed you. I'll show you again. I don't know if we could make something like this work, but that would be structurally sensible. Right there. Simple too. But it may not be acceptable for some reason or another. So you'd go through all these different possibilities. Now, here's another drawing. Again, there's your boat in the canal, and these are windmills, these dots, and these, all the dots there, windmills, and then the rigging holding up all this nonsense, you might call it, but it is, with our technologies now, with the lightweight materials, and we really would be able to do something like this, whereas back when my grandfather built the Sagamore Bridge, well, the materials and the technology wasn't available. Powered walkways for the pavilion. Okay, here's one for Built Hill windmill for housing around the bridge or hotels. You know, this is just futuristic stuff. Nothing to be too afraid of. Oh, I mentioned on the one of the last shows a banana hanger. So I got thinking about that foolishness, and I drew up an actual banana hanger. My mother used to love the banana hangers, and I would, this has nothing to do with the bridge, but that says, I used to carve into it, proud to be a banana. This is my silly side here, kind of for fun. You know, that's a banana hanger with an apple that hangs up there and some grapes and a little clock. I do have fun with this stuff. And that would be a davit, not a banana hanger. Okay. Now for the bridge windmill bases, if we wanted something more substantial, we could go with a modified boat stand base. And again, that's an 80-foot diameter tube. Now these tubes could be built of, believe it or not, wood. That is plasticized wood with the capability that this would bear a lot of weight, a lot more weight than you'd ever put on this structure. And that, one of the reasons I'm coming at it from a county perspective is that if we do a lot of work with laminated wood, you know, very well plasticized, strong, structurally sound wood for these 80-foot diameter bases, then we prisoners and jailbirds could have jobs, you know, through the counties laminating this work up. I know that's far-fetched, but you know, it's a possibility if we came at it from a county perspective. Here's a tire reef drawn up for the edges of the canal. That would be the water line at low water, and that's the water line at high water, and this is a pad for the sides of the canal, so if you had tall ships in here, they could actually come in and raft in right on the canal's edge and actually be docked, or the facility would be there to, you know, with gangplanks. And can you imagine what that would be like to have a tall ship's rendezvous in the Cape Cod Canal? That would be something for the world to come and have a little fun in the, you know, summer, shoulder seasons, spring and fall. You know, get a few tall ships together for the canal. Now, a lot of reworking of the town of Bourne would probably be in the works for something like this. Square-shaped bridge pipe, still working on those details. 80-foot diameter windmill base for the Cape Cod Canal Bridge, as opposed to some other diameter. Oh, 80 foot, that's huge. No, no, no. Well, for the purpose of carrying a bridge and a pavilion, you may want to go 100-foot diameter. Okay. Train tubes, I've been doing a lot of work with that because I still believe in the, this was meant to be a decorative piece for the rail systems of Cape Cod, but that would be 10-foot gauge rail systems centrally located around the Cape, and then of course if we wanted it, we could go with the outrigger tripe as a demonstration. We wouldn't need it because we'd probably have monorails for that mostly here. We wouldn't need that large-scale industrial happening. Last week I also, show number 13 and 14, I was talking about the bridge construction, and I said here's something for, you know, I think I called it, yeah, Snippy's bridge system here, where I actually have sistered up arches getting hoisted in, and these are the details of how to do that and the mechanics of hoisting up cantilever or two at once. You'd hoist in two arches would come up, and I'm the Sagamore Bridge here, and you get your arches being hoisted up and then anchored in, and then let's say that would be, you know, as I've got it drawn up here, you know, 4 more. So you've got definite solid structures for these renovated Bourne and Sagamore. I would hate to see any of these bridges go. I've been doing a lot of thinking. If we did a pavilion and we were looking down at new bridges, not the old beautiful bridges. We've got 3 beautiful bridges, the Train Bridge, the Bourne Bridge, and the Sagamore Bridge. These are just wonderful bridges, and I hope that we can modify them and raise them up to give ourselves better clearance for the tall ships to come through. So I don't have designs on blowing these bridges out, even though I have drawn up this system to put arches up and then blow the bridges out. I don't think that's a good idea, even though I have it drawn up. Everything I draw up, okay, is ratio based. 30 to 1, maybe it's okay. You know, maybe it passes, like I said. Here, I have one of my first drawings of, you know, because I was talking to people and they said, well, why can't we just put decks on these bridges? So I started doing that, and then something triggered me to say, well, put the windmills there and hang the bridges up. But that's a drawing there of a modified Bourne or Sagamore to carry decks. A lot of people have said, well, why can't we just run another deck there? I don't know the answer. I'm not smart enough to know that, and I haven't researched it, but I mean, maybe we could have some nice bamboo decks. You know, you can't put a lot of weight on these bridges. They're old, so, you know, maybe we could have bamboo outriggers on either side of the Bourne and Sagamore Bridge. I don't think so, but, you know, anything's possible. Bamboo, composite, fiberglass. We could, you know, there's any number of ways to jury rig, but I don't think we want to do that. I think we want real good stuff here. Stack lanes for the Bourne and Sagamore Bridge. You know, you might think, well, that makes sense, but sometimes with an old boat or an old bridge, you're wise to just build new. But what I'm saying is, oh, I would hate to see that. These bridges are so beautiful. The three of them together, it's one of the most picturesque things about the Cape. You know, and you go from Provincetown, the beautiful Provincetown, the monument, all through the Cape and all the beautiful things on the Cape and Islands. People come here because of the charge that they get or we get from all the aesthetic beauty. So that is money as well. You know, you got to think in terms of why people come to the Cape. Train tube vessels, big into that, but here's a good example of what I would call a floating marine laboratory with tanks on tripe. That sounds silly, but this would be a floating marine laboratory, and this would be a tripe system train carrier, and then you'd have your aquaculture tanks that are on that. You know, they'd be wheeled in, rolled in, and then of course for the pilgrim evacuation, I always title things up here. So up here you get pilgrim evacuation, you get tripe, and you get FML, floating marine laboratory. These are categories that I work in. So these are your tanks for aquaculture, shellfish and fish. And these are just, you know, the structures of how you might go about doing that. Tripe car cross receiver connector sleeve pipes. I'm doing a lot of work with the tripe system, designing a train system, which I have no business obviously designing a train system, but I do it because, hey, I designed a windmill system. And the windmill system dictated that I needed all these pipes everywhere to carry this energy. That's why I started working on these rail systems, train systems, monorail systems, because I had to have them for the energy systems from wind and wave offshore. So, I mean, there's any number of different ways to build windmill bases and sticks. Here I have pipe and corrugated base or stick. This is brainstorming type work. But like I said, this is one of my favorite methods of construction, and these are pressed pipe right here, bundled pipe. You know, if you glued a bunch of straws together. Now with this particular base, you'd have 12 winches located all around to raise the stick. The stick isn't shown, but it would be in here. And the stick would simply be a very strong unit that would be going up and down. You see, that's your stick is now drawn in there. So I try to do 10 a day of this sort of thing here. And I even did a little oil painting of this stuff at Bay Bridge the other day. So that's not a stick or a base, that's actually a monorail pipe right there. So to design efficiently as a fisherman or boatyard man or you know, janitor at the boat shop. Quite a challenge for me. I don't have a team of people. I wish I had a team of people. By the way, the building I'm in now is huge. And there is some space for rent, so I wouldn't mind renting, if this project gets going, renting some space from Channel 99. This cavernous area, it was really smart for Channel 99 to buy such a building as this. It's a wonderful facility. But we could have, conceivably, prototype areas and modeling areas, and we'd have the cameras right here, so you could have teams of people coming in from worldwide to work on this project, and they would be bringing their models in and displaying them. Wouldn't that be cool, right here on Cape Cod and Dennis? Oh, here's this damn banana hanger windmill bridge. Of course, what I mean by banana hanger, these are davits. Not that I like that idea, but I did mention it. It would work. A lot of things could work, would work, but, you know, that's why you got to go through, and then sometimes you hit on something like these 7-pipe sticks made out of steel that are just structurally, they look so strong that what could possibly beat that? And you can fill that steel pipe with wood or bamboo, you know, pressurized. So there's no telling what the imagination will come up with. Here we have, 10 boat stand windmill bridge, which is not dependent on any windmills. And here's something else that's not dependent on windmills at all. That looks like the old bridge. These are aluminum sections that are floated in, jacked up. Gladding and Hearn could do that. Right here in Massachusetts, we've got one of the best shipbuilders in the world right here. Probably most people don't know that. These high-tech boats that go between Nantucket and Hyannis and the Vineyard, those are beautiful catamarans built by Gladding and Hearn. And they could do this job in their sleep. Now, here's something for a 20 mil. I'll hold for a second. Now, this is 20 mil square grid, and it's got this very long, straight, cheap, and simple bridge deck. And the view of the rail bridge, the view of the Bourne Bridge, Sagamore Bridge, canal and bays, villages, woods. Wow, you know, we can renovate these old bridges and keep them and raise them a little bit for the tall ships coming in. We can do that. So here's a look from the top down, and you can see your pavilion is the circle or the donut. You see that? That's a huge pavilion. It's lightweight, and it's hanging, and it's standing on little sticks. Try the bridge on a stick, right? And here's your deck, your bridge deck coming in and raised, very gradual grade. So here's Route 6. Okay, here's Route 6, and this is about 2 miles from, and here, Route 6 to the Sagamore Bridge. So that's about a mile. So this pavilion might be about 3/4 of a mile, whoops, in diameter. Now, so you can't have fear. You have to trust the rig. This is common in fishing. Trust your compass. This can all be done. You'd have to trust these cables. Trust your rig. Here is another look at this grid. And I'm looking from the top down. This is traced from a map. This is a scale tracing of the Bourne map. Now, those circles don't really represent windmills, but because I was just conceptualizing, they do. In other words, here's the village of Sagamore, which wouldn't be appropriate to put stick windmills in here. And it's barely appropriate, if it is, to put this industrial site at the east end of the canal over there. Now, you've got Anyway, you've got a savings of about 16 minutes as I calculated with this bridge deck getting carried over the way I have it from Route 6 to Route 25. So that's a savings of 16 minutes, let's say. That's worth $5. The value of saving 16 minutes is worth $5.25. Okay. Now this is an estimate, of course. So that would help justify the tolls. That's why I want to see the tolls placed at $10 with a maximum per vehicle per year of $60. Here's one. Remember I mentioned Coca-Cola, tar and canal water? Well, here's one of my favorite bases I've ever drawn up. And this says Coke bottle shaped base. I'm not being joking here and funny, but this is the base cap. And this is the actual base. It looks like a Coke bottle. And then, of course, down here you're going way down into the sand. And then you've got extra stays here. And then you've got structure to anchor the base of the stick, the bottom of the stick that goes way up. In this case, it looks like it goes up 1,400 feet. But maybe not for this bridge deal. Maybe out on George's Bank. Okay. Thank you very much for watching another show, the Scannell Agenda. Enjoy the nice weather. Thank you, Cape Codders.